Hello and welcome to another episode of the Captain's Table Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about Star Citizen lore, news, and more with people from all over the Star Citizen universe. Today's topic is going to be what I believe, and I'm sure my guests will agree or disagree, we'll see, is probably one of the most consequential patches that CIG has ever released, simply because of what it's adding, which is 4.7, specifically crafting and inventory. But before we dive into the deep end there, I'm going to get started with who my guests are. Give them the little introductions. I'm going to start with Mr. Loken Plays. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hello everyone. Some of you may know me by now, some of you may not. My name's Loken Plays. It's a pleasure to see all of you in the house. And, I do a lot of Star Citizen content on Twitch mainly. Basically, 5-day-a-week stream. It's mostly focused on SC. Basically, we do everything though, and I like to enjoy the whole game because I paid for the whole game, so I'm going to play the whole dang game. But no, I also do a lot of sort of like looking at all new updates, talking about patches, educating people on how to play the game, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, and occasionally moonlight as other streamer that plays other games too, like Windrose, which I'm addicted to now. Thank you so much for that, Paul.
No problem.
Thank you. Son of a gun.
We'll talk about that
on Fridays. Well, yeah.
Yeah, me and Loken Play. If you don't know, I do a live stream on twitch.tv/theastropub and youtube.com/theastropub live. And on Fridays, Loken and I get together and play sometimes Star Citizen. We also play like co-op games, like we play Helldivers, we played Darktide, we played Space Marine 2, we played I would say Rocket Stone, it's the wrong one.
Deep Rock
Galactic.
Yeah.
Like we did that one Star Rupture Fracture game.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I got burnt with cinder a few times.
Yes.
But yeah, he has put me onto this bloody Windrose thing, and it's just so my vibe because I like building things, which is part of what will be involved with crafting the future. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back on topic and introduce your other guest.
And where they can find you, twitch.tv, right? Twitch.tv/Loken Plays.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Twitch.tv/Loken Plays. Basically, all my social is a derivative of Loken Plays. You'll recognize it. I have a cool eagle motif-y logo thing. So yeah, you'll know it's me.
And then last but not least, we have Mr. Andy, Mr. Radar Ranger. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Yes, well, so yes, my name is Andy Green, aka Radar Ranger. I like to describe myself as a self-professed Uber nerd, Star Citizen Uber nerd. I've been a backer since 2012. I'm a CEO of a company here in the States called MyRadar, and we make a popular weather app. But the Star Citizen connection there is that way back in 2017, we did this collaboration with CIG where you could look at the moons of Stanton in our app offline. So you could basically like zoom in and look at the planet surface and scroll around and stuff. It was kind of neat. It was a fun little thing that we did. You can actually watch, I did a CitizenCon presentation on it back in 2017. So if you watch the video from 2017, I'm in there like a little segment I did right after the Planet Tech section. What else? Oh, and then I always forget this, as if I need to like,
your credentials.
Put another notch on my nerd card here. Our company launched a satellite into orbit in 2019 that had the Star Citizen logo on it. So as you can see, I'm a little obsessed.
Yeah.
You can find me on Blue Sky as agreen123, and I think I also have a YouTube channel that doesn't really have a lot of stuff yet, but it will. I'm on there as Radar Ranger.
Awesome.
My man has his own satellite in space. I am jelly. I can't top
that. I'm so
get a picture of it one of these days.
I'm eagerly waiting for CIG to even hint at you that they want to do a collab again with weather tracking in your app, because that would be so cool. Even if it was just they did an app and it was powered by your app's technology in terms of tracking.
I agree. Well, so I mean, that was kind of discussed a long time ago when back in 2017 when they were thinking of having weather, but obviously the company and the game has gotten so much bigger now. I don't know that they're going to have the spare time to put into it, but I might be able to try to get their attention again. I made what's the name of the guy, the ship guy with the red hair? I always forget his name.
John Crew.
Yeah, John Crew. He may not even know it, but I said that if he gives us a black skin for the 890 jump, that I would put his name on a satellite. So he actually got us that black skin. We have another satellite going up at the end of the year. I'm going to stick his name on it. Maybe if that gets his attention, maybe we can
Just
kind of lure them into doing another.
take a picture of
collaboration or
it
something.
and send it to him. Yeah. Yeah. So
Exactly.
so if anybody here is working at CIG, I do see C Daddy is here. Just reach out to, I guess, Sylvan. Not Sylvan. Sylvan wouldn't be the person behind it. The Planet Tech team, the Moist Master. I forgot his name.
The Moisture Master. I love the fact that it's become his name.
And see, because like at the very least, I think it would be a cool idea for them to reach out to y'all and just be like, hey, does this track right in terms of weather? Because y'all are literal meteorologists, so you should probably have like a little bit more of cool things. And it would also be a neat little collab at the very least of meteorologists being reacting, going, yeah, this is actually realistic. This is how weather actually works, and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, even just as a tool to like be able to figure out whether or not the place you're going to on the planet is raining at the moment. You know, that would be neat. That'd be easy to do.
Will Hain.
That would be so freaking cool.
Yeah. All right. We're going to get into the topic for today. I'm going to start with you, Andy, on this one. We're going to start with the inventory. We're going to do the juicy crafting stuff a little bit later, but I want to start with the inventory. Your thoughts, goods or bads, on the current implementation of inventory in 4.7?
I love it, plain and simple. It did take a little bit of getting used to because you have your muscle memory from using the other one for so long. But I mean, when you compare them side by side, you can really tell that the original, it was basically like a placeholder with bare minimum UI just to make it kind of function. But I think with this latest implementation, they've kind of grown up and they've joined the mature MMO world. They have, basically the same kind of mechanics you'd have in other games. So you still have the paper doll, but now you have places where it's obvious to drag things on top of it. So when you drag a helmet onto a helmet slot, you drag your core armor to a core slot. From an equipment standpoint, I think it works really well. It does take a little bit getting used to because I still try to like drag the stuff off the doll every once in a while. But aside from just the equipment part, like even the inventories work out really well. I like the way that you can walk up to, one box or one loot crate and automatically have access to all the ones that are immediately in your vicinity. That makes things a lot faster, a lot more streamlined. A lot of the other extras that are in there for stacking, auto stack, and just all the other functionality. But it's starting to grow up, and it looks like a good, production grade, production ready inventory system for an MMO. So I like it. Really good.
Awesome. Logan, same thoughts with you. Same question with you. Your current thoughts on the new inventory system?
I mean, yeah, I can basically say that nigh on all of my issues with the previous system have been near as makes them want rectified by this new system. Visually, it is a monstrous step forward, and it has metamorphosized the system visually. It is interesting that it's still working on the same back-end architecture, so it still can be a little bit slow at times, and it can still be a little bit laggy at times too, but that's not the fault of the UI devs. That's just the nature of how inventory currently works. I'm sure that will be worked on as well. So, whilst it is an enormous step forward, it should be mentioned that, it isn't actually changing how it interfaces with the back-end. That's it and done. I love it. I think it looks fucking fantastic. We've been wanting this forever. The ability to sort by items and search for things is a blessing. I have like two other quibbles though. One of which is I would very much like the return of the 2 utility slot belt things as a paper doll dragon thing, because it's there, but it's buried in the sub menu, and I just be able to like to pull my multi-tool on to my spot visually.
Yeah,
that's like one small thing. And the other thing is it's less of an inventory thing but more a gameplay. I'd like the ability to be able to juggle 3 rifles. And what I mean by that is have 2 in the backpack, 1 in the hand, and if I switch out from a rifle, instead of just going there and dropping it, I put one rifle on and pull the other rifle out. I don't know, it happened the other day and it was really annoying. There you go.
I thought they talked about being able to specifically add that at one point. I thought I heard him mentioning that.
I think it's supposed to work, but there's a bug with it, because I've had that happen where like I had my rifle out and it took it out of the inventory slot in the back, so I could put things into the inventory slot again, but then
Yeah.
you put it in your backpack and it can get shuffled. So
Yeah, it's just annoying little quibble things, but these are tiny quibbles of what is otherwise a holistic and complete upgrade to the system, and has made
Yeah.
the game feel a lot more polished, as Radar was saying, and a lot closer to the final vision.
Yeah. I would tail on the one thing that you added though, because it is kind of significant. It's using the same back end. So all of the little quirks that were still there are still there. And I don't know what it would take to kind of improve how items go from your long-term, your inventory into your, active equipment. There's definitely some laggy stuff going on, and you find some weird quirks where sometimes they don't equip properly, but hopefully they take another pass at the back end side of this as well, instead of just the front end.
yeah, I have a feeling that
Since they hope so.
I feel that has connected to like the LTP thing, like how LTP just sort of sucks, and they're trying to replace it.
That
'Cause
makes sense.
as of this recording, they're currently having problems where the LTP is partially erasing people's crafted weapons.
Yeah.
So like you craft a weapon and it won't erase the weapon, but it'll erase the tooltip stats for your weapon. So it's still there. But sometimes it'll completely remove it entirely from it as well. So
Oh, that's outstanding to hear.
yeah. And yeah, I would add to that. It's I've been saying this is an evolution, not a revolution. It is the same problems you will have currently in 4.6. You will have in 4.7.
That's the way to put it.
Loads get bad, you'll take 7 or 8 different times to like attach your scope to your weapon, or like you'll put something on the like, oh yeah, cool, totally have this thing on your muzzle, and then you close your inventory, open back up, and it's like, what do you mean you never put this there? That sort of take 7 different times to like attach ammo to your belts and everything like that. It's still as clunky because the back end services are still weird, but stack all button is stack all similar is so good.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
so good, and the inventory loot, the just pushing I and being able to like get into access to it, those things are good. There's still some problems.
That is a good point, actually. I had forgotten to mention that sort of almost proximity looting mechanic they put in. It's quite tasty, I've got to be honest. I am really finding it hard to get rid of the muscle memory of going to every box going,
Yes. Yes, same here. Same here. Well, we were doing Rockbreaker recently, and I noticed that it doesn't default to that mode. Like if you go up to the box and just hit F, it does open up at the loot mode, and then you have to literally go up there and click to change it into the multi-mode view, or whatever you want to call it.
Specifically, the medium and large crate, they work, but the small ones, for some reason, when you press I, doesn't show up. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a step in the right direction. There's still problems with the inventory system that need to be resolved, but I think that it is less UI. I think this UI is more new player friendly. It is it is far more easy to read. It is far better in terms of usability, and it's clearly tier 0 of it, their first implementation, and because they were like, it's done, let's get it out, rather than let's wait for another patch cycle before it's really good, put it in that. So and there've also been some other things that are sort of connected to the UI, but it's mostly just back end stuff when it comes to like fixing certain like glitch through wall mechanics and other things like that they've added, which sort of makes the inventory, this is going to sound like a stretch, but it makes the inventory better because you have to use it more instead of having to like you actually have to carry your cards everywhere you go, and you have to like sort through but in general, it's an evolution, not a revolution. I feel like it's a step in the right direction. But I would caution people to be like, oh, it's amazing, it's going to solve all my problems. No, your problems are core based in CIG's backend, which is doggy doo-doo. It needs complete fixing. And CIG knows that, and they've actually started to fix that backend. As far as we know, that they've been working on that new system, which is based off of the system that they use for store items. So it's going to use the same code, I guess, from that. But
Benoit is supposed to be doing a back end chat in the next week or so, I think. Or
Yeah.
they talked about trying to plan that out. Hopefully, they kind of dive into a little bit of that and what they're trying to do on the back end to improve it. I would love to hear it.
Yeah.
I would love to see
Yeah,
if
me
they have
too.
some plans for adjusting things.
Absolutely.
That was a brief discussion on inventory because honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a big deal, but it's a fairly self-explanatory thing.
Yeah, it's very contained. You know, it's an upgrade to the visuals, and it makes a huge difference, and it's impactful, and everybody can see it's immediately impactful because of just how much of an improvement it is.
it's
You know, it's
you
an
can't
inventory, guys.
you can't play 4.6 after you play 4.7 with inventory. That's my experience.
Ah,
It's just
I know.
It is that
It's
that
rough.
100%. Yeah. That is a problem.
And we've kind of talked a little bit about more. Do you see CIG messing with his inventory beyond this, like in terms of visuals, or do you think this is...
I think they will. I think that they will add some few features here and there. I would like a loadout tab, if I'm honest, not only for the inventory itself. You know, it just so I can predetermine. Okay, well, I have deceased. I wish to have new equipment. I have this predetermined loadout. Press button. You know, that kind of thing.
I have a feeling that may wind up being related to the suit hangers, the suit lockers when that comes out. I think one of the things that I wanted to see was the tooltip pop up. So right now, when you go to hover over an item, it still doesn't really give you any additional information other than what was in the old system. But I think they demoed it in some of the screenshots that they show. You know, show the item stats. If you've got a gun that has some, souped up stats, it doesn't list them at the moment. Yeah. And I think that's kind of missing because right now you can craft something new and you can't really tell what's different about it. But I was shortly behind.
I don't think that they're going to make massive monumental changes now. I think there'll be incremental upgrades on what they currently have. I think they've got the basis now of a very user-friendly, visually pleasing system, and that'll be tuning it. That's the way I perceive it myself.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think if anything, they're going to take this and they're going to start copying it over to other things. Like the crafting screen sort of is a copy of this already. I think that the scene for the elevators, I think the elevators will probably get some of this overhaul as well, because right now the elevators are still very the old system. But yeah, like as someone in chat saying, an auto filter, like helm on player doll would filter all the helms, so you could just have the helmets rather than that. But there's some, but that's more of a tweaking the visual styles rather than a complete change over, and how like this is a complete changeover visually from the previous inventory system. We're also kind of getting a little bit more crafting, but again, I'd like to be able to name my boxes CIG. I'd like to be able to.
Labels are lost text, sir. How many times do we have to have this conversation? About labeling.
I would also love to be able to name the things I craft, but we'll get into that a little bit later, because yes, CIG is going to have plenty of like Dixcaliburs or some like form of crude naming conventions for the weapons and stuff like that. But I find more people will name stuff relatively normal, but it'd be easy to be able for people to be able to go, this is my shoot random NPC's gun, this is my shoot player's gun, kind of thing. So but let's get into the crafting. Let's get into the crafting. Right. Loken, you're just right now, what is good about crafting as it currently stands with what we have?
What's good about crafting, it adds in relevance for so many different industry style jobs and makes their contributions to the world not just be in sort of like I have acquired money, but it's also a direct way that an industry player can affect the ability of their, let's say, parent corporation, for example, to have better gear so they can do a better job at their merc stuff, or they can open up new markets to themselves so they can sell new guns and armor to players, and it provides more relevance for people to go out and to engage in those gameplay loops in the first place, beyond just, hey, I want to be an intergalactic miner, so I'm just gonna mine everything. Now there's it's bringing in, it's tying in a lot of different pre-existing mechanics into a greater aspect of Star Citizen, and it's opening up player crafted market, which is nothing short of awesome. I mean, that's a big freaking deal, especially as your capability of getting, the best resources, the best minerals will directly affect how good or bad your weapon or armor is that you craft.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
Because you come from your organization, Imperial Arms, it is a crafting organization. That was what it was founded as, right? That's the main focus.
Yeah,
of
Imperial Arms sells more and more accessories, and as a result of that, we craft.
So like you're coming at this from a perspective of somebody this is your gameplay loop. This is the gameplay loop you wanted with Star Citizen when you formed your organization. So.
Yeah, that's it really. For me, I'm coming from that perspective of I always love the idea of being this just industrialist. This just ability to, use an organization of logistics and in industrialists to come together to create the best arms, the best ammo, and sell these to people and just profit from that. And hey, you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes to logistics of going and blowing things up, you need money. Money is hard to come by. Well, I mean, okay, it has been recently, but you know what I mean, okay?
Yeah.
Money's been too easy to come by, but I'm talking about in 1.0 onwards, right?
So
point is that you going and having your own store is a really good way of making cash and financing the explosions.
So what we're saying is that Imperial Arms is going to be the Raytheon or General Dynamics of the verse. So.
Yeah. Instead of is it a plane? No, it's Lockheed Martin. It's Imperial Arms. You're gonna see a Imperial Arms ship up there. You're gonna bet you're done, ski. Done. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
All right, Radar. Your thoughts on crafting as it stands.
First of all, I'm really glad they added it. But Logan, I have to ask: did you ever play Star Wars Galaxies?
Right. Interesting point. Okay, because C Daddy and I have been getting in the weeds about this recently.
Okay.
So I didn't initially, but I have been playing on one of the fan run servers now. And I will be honest, it is hilarious at just how many influences I see from galaxies that are now either made their way or making their way into Star Citizen.
Yeah.
It is
With good reason.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's with good fluffing reason. Yes.
Yeah. So I was a big fan of that game when it came out in the early 2000s. I played that game. In fact, there was one point where I was like goofing off work wise, and I literally played every single day for a year and like barely did any work. It was notorious for having a phenomenal crafting system, and there are a lot of elements for that game that were carried over to Star Citizen's crafting, and I'm very glad that they were, because they were successful for a reason. And I think that's why somebody at CIG is also a Star Wars Galaxies fan and decided to bring those components over. You just described like you really enjoy the whole crafting aspect. The CIG implementation at where they're going with it is very much conducive to having that kind of gameplay, having that reputation as being the best crafter in the world. And there's actually a lot of people who are kind of griping about it on Reddit. Like I played crafting systems in other games. Ashes of Creation, rest in peace, had a reasonable crafting system where you typically when you craft something in most of the other games, their resources are like common, rare, elite, and legendary or something like that.
Yeah.
When you have a limited set of qualities from crafting, you're kind of limited as far as the best type of ammo you can get, or the best type of product you can craft. You can go out if you happen to get lucky and get all elite stuff. Well, then okay, you get an elite thing that you've made. One of the things that was really a successful aspect of Star Wars Galaxies was this idea of having a resource quality that ranged from 0 to 1,000. And the reason for that is it basically made it so that everyone was always on an eternal quest to get the best resources.
Yeah.
It was nearly impossible to get everything of 1,000. It would get exponentially harder once you got past like the average rates. And somebody could go out and make a rifle with, say, 900, quality resources, and that would be good. But then somebody would always be out there trying to outdo them and make one with 910 or 950 and so on and so on. So there was this eternal struggle of people who went out to try to manufacture items that were always the best, and they would want to outdo each other, and they wound up getting these notorious reputations in the game. And it just had this emergent, player generated content where there was always someone who was being singled out in the universe as the best crafter of so and so. And
Yeah.
if you don't have the granularity in the crafting system, it makes that type of emergent gameplay that much more difficult to have. And so
This is true.
in Star Wars Galaxies, they had the ability for you to, once you crafted something, they had a player market, you'd set up a shop. And it was like there was all of this gameplay that revolved around going to a planet and going to a marketplace to go to this one guy's shop because he was the best guy who made the armor that you wanted or something along those lines. And so, CIG has taken all of those same components from that crafting mechanic from that game and brought them into this game. And so everything you just described is I think made possible because of the path that they chose. So overall, you to kind of answer the question, I think the crafting system in general is just really awesome. I think it's gonna open the doors for a lot of new gameplay. It's gonna let people become legendary, notorious arms dealers, and I'm kind of curious to see how it plays out. It's a big change in the game for sure.
I've joked about how if once CIG allows us to craft like food and like drinks, I'm going to seek out the best materials to craft the best whiskey and spirits that can be made in the verse. Why? Because I want to. Will there be a market? Maybe. But maybe someday someone will be like, "Yeah, I got an Astropub original whiskey. I got a Paul Shelley whiskey out in here. I'm gonna only bust this open once we finish our base." So
it's funny you say that because I got to add, one of the things that Star Wars Galaxies had was that when you crafted an item, it had your name on it, so you could tell who manufactured it. That is another mechanic that CIG has already acknowledged that they're bringing over, so you'll be able to see who made it.
I want to know whenever that pirate gets shot in the head. The gun was made by me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the piece that helps build your notoriety right there. That gun will have your name stamped on it.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Pan-Galactic Astro Blaster. Yeah. But yeah, no, I see this as a fundamental shift in the game, and I had an idea of what it was going to be like. I didn't experience until I experienced what it was like to try to do crafting. Did I go, "Oh, this is an entire different game. This is a completely different thing that people are not used to." Because the system, as how it works, is you have very, very basic stuff to start off with blueprints. And if they keep it like this, it's a good idea. Just basically you can craft a P4, ammo, and then basic light armor, basic marine light armor. And then everything else you have to earn the blueprints for. And each of those blueprints are assigned to different specific mission chains that you have to do. And if you do one of those missions, you're guaranteed a blueprint, but it's a random selection of like 7 blueprints you can get. So you're guaranteed to get those blueprints. You're going to need those blueprints, but you have to farm those missions to do it. And I'm assuming they're going to probably tweak it a little bit so it's not a guarantee, or it's there's something else like that. But the system as it sets up right now is basically you now have to go off and do a mission to be able to get that blueprint. So you either have to do it yourself, you have to get someone to help you out, and you have to go farm a mission. So you have an incentive to go do missions instead of just money. It's like
instead of just money, right?
And it's missions. That's a good point. And it's missions for things you probably have never done before, unless you were absolutely like fantastic. Because I've never done a it's like Code something or other. It's the hacker group. I've never done one of their missions.
Oh, the Bit Zero stuff.
The Bit Zeros, yeah, the Bit Zeros.
Yeah,
I've never done a Bit Zeros mission since the.
Have you never done one?
I did the one when they first released them, which was like to go to.
I thought it'd be your vibe, a bit morally grey.
Yeah, I enjoyed the heist one, the where you go in and you have to like steal or stop the the data heist ones. That was a good one. I like that. But that was their original one. I haven't done their other heists, which are in like Pyro. But if you want to get a custodian, you can only do custodian through Bit Zero's missions. And I'm like, well, I like custodians. That is my main weapon of choice. I guess I'm gonna have to learn how to do Bit Zero's missions. And I really like that dynamic because it's forcing players to get out of their comfort zone to go do things to get the thing. And then it forces you to go learn how to mine. So you have to go figure out where to go mine and get the best materials, and you have to go learn how to do refining. And the best part about this is that as it evolves, it's going to get so complex that no one is going to be able to do all of these things unless they absolutely hyper focus on it, or they just buy something from other people. So it'll be more and more the way this is designing. I can already see it panning out as it's pushing you towards talking with other people. Go talk with these people, engage with these people, do trade, you know.
Oh, I want to interact with players? Disgusting. I just want to chat PvP them. I want to have to talk and trade. Ugh. Vulgar.
I mean, yeah. So like as it's implemented right now, it is going, if you want to engage in that loop, as just people do anyways, it will change how you look at Star Citizen. Because it's the first real sandbox element of the game that has a reward to it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I 100% agree with you. And, you know, the ability to incentivize mission chains and storylines above and beyond just here's money, it can't be understated. People, gamers love new stuff. They love getting new kit. And this is such a great additional incentivization reward system and can be used in so many different ways in the future. It's a really, really, really solid system that can be scaled and made to just be super valuable for players. But I do want to mention that whilst I applaud, and personally I'm really looking forward to the complexity. I'm sure there are some people out there going, well, it's just going to make my game a lot more complicated and I don't have time for this. To which I would say, either come and buy an Imperial Arms gun because we'll make the best, or conversely, you can still actually buy like a Custodian from a store. It's just you won't be able to get the best version of Custodian from a store. You'd have to
I think that's the important point. Like, you don't have to do this if you don't want, because you're making those guns because you want to sell them or you want to have other players use them, and those same people will be able to take advantage of your wares once you can put them up on a market, or even before then, just by out and chatting with you online or something.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, a P6 rifle round to the head is gonna one tap you, regardless if it comes from the top tier version or one you bought off a shelf. It's still a 50 caliber, guys. It's still gonna hurt.
Yeah. It's just the difference is that the one that's produced by Imperial Arms will go through like heavy armor. Yeah, it'll take out that Titan suit rather than in one shot or two shots rather than in six. You know, that sort of thing. So it's a little bit more, or that piece of armor that's being made will be able to survive just a little bit more, so you can stay on Daymar a little bit longer, or you go through like Hathor a little bit easier in your armor of choice rather than having to like deal with clunky environmental suits and such. So it's but as you said, it's optional. It's entirely optional for you to participate in it, but it's just like are you a capital G gamer? Do you want the best of the best? This is the system you have to go pay attention to. Go enjoy the system. You don't have to have the highest number go up. Don't you want the highest number go up? You want big number, you know?
You gamer, you want big number.
I would. So there's only in I have to play Debbie Downer a little bit. There's only some concerns that I've got with the idea of crafting. They definitely are going to have to figure out how to balance it, because if we already have, let's just say we already have good weapons now. If everybody's able to go out and basically kind of craft and make a weapon that's like totally kick ass over everybody else's, well, then you run into the problem of making sure that people have a fair way to participate with everybody else. You know what I mean? Like if you already have a gun right now that can kill somebody in 2 or 3 shots or whatever, is it a fun game if you can headshot somebody right off the bat with one game just because you have an OP rifle? So like part of me wonders whether or not some of our starting gear might have to be lowered so that when we do craft new weapons that are improved a little bit, does that keep them within a range that's still somewhat playable? I think there's some balance issues here that will pop up, and I'm hoping that CIG will take them into account as they're going along with this. And the reason why I'm a little bit not skeptical, but wary of it. Somebody already found a way to kind of abuse the crafting system to get infinite money. He found out that you could go and buy a bunch of resources to craft like a simple gun, like a P4 or something. You buy them, stick them in a container, then you buy like 7 crafters, and you just queue them all up to make these guns, the P4s, and then you turn around and you sell the guns back to the shop, and you make more money than the resources cost. And I was like, okay, well that's great. But we're not even officially out the door.
If I squeeze my own juice, I expect to be able to get a cheaper juice with just the juicer and the machine.
Oh, that's
Well, so
outstanding.
that's a fair point, though.
Yeah.
But then how do you balance that out to make that good gameplay? Because otherwise, nobody's going to play. They're all just going to sit there with their crafting machines all day long and make money that way.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be. I think the key with that is just a balance of they have to change the market. So like you can't just sit there and sell 1,400. You can't be going to like a random podunk, People's Alliance station and be like, would you like a platoon's worth of assault rifles?
It's like you bring a fair point. That's the way to do it right there. Just I'll take one off you and I'll give you $10 for it.
Yeah. But if you go to like Hurston and be like what's your security officers like with like 4,000 rounds of P4 ammunition, Hurston be like, my man, let us discuss details.
That makes me wonder though. Do you reckon they'll add like crafting missions, as in like, hey, this people or this faction requires X number of weapons, make them or acquire them at this quality.
My ideal future mission, and if you're listening, Elliot, please run this up. Please, tell me if I'm crazy or not. Elliot does sometimes show up. The UEE is doing a effort. They need to like resupply the front lines. So they need these specific weapons and armor and equipment to be produced and dropped off at these locations. And it's just a number of like 4 million, sets of this armor, 4 million P4s or P8s. And like, so it's just line go up. We have to see this number go up, and if we achieve it, CIG will give us something for free. I may be playing too much Helldivers, but like that's still that is still something that I think plays. If you gave crafters a mission, being like the UEE calls for aid, would you answer? We need this equipment. Yet players would churn that. They would churn that just so that they could get number go up.
100%.
Yeah.
And if you get something cool as a result for doing it, if like the whole community gets it for achieving that goal, people would do it. So yeah. Cameo from Nick Cage as an armor dealer for NPC, yes. We talked a little bit about the negatives. Logan, is there any other negatives that you can see about the current system as it is? We'll go into blueprints here in a moment. But
I think it's a huge amount of balancing, as Radar was suggesting. Again, he's absolutely right on to mention the balancing to make sure that it feels rewarding to spend the time to get rare resources and the time that it takes to refine them. But conversely, it doesn't upset the overall balance too much. At the end of the day, I am of the camp that if I've got my ultra tier gun that I've spent tens of or maybe even hundreds of hours acquiring and building and the infrastructure to make it, I would like it to be better than Joe Bloggs down the street who bought the same gun off the shelf. I would like that reward, but I don't want that reward to be a point where I'm like, I'm going to use an extraordinary example here. I could be standing on my ship in orbit and shoot the guy in the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's obviously a ludicrous example, but you get the general gist. So it's balancing more than anything else. And other things too, like for example, when you mulch weapons or other items, do you take a degradation of the resources you get? So if you had like 1,000 quality weapon, do you get 900 quality mats or something like that? So there's lots of bits and pieces that need to be balanced and adjusted and changed, which I'm sure will all happen in time. But for the most part, I'm pretty damn happy with what we got right now, and I'm thrilled with it, and I just can't wait to see it expand. I'm just hungry for it to expand. I want to be able to build my ships and some other things too, but obviously that is down the line. But yes, as it stands, really cool what's in there. Love it. would love to see some of those crafters come online on other ships. You know, Clipper, frickin' Carrick, looking at
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would say that's a bit of a downside for me is that, you know, they just released a Clipper. The Clipper has the same size crafter as the one that we have in the game for 4.7. So it should be able to craft the same stuff as the crafter.
Good thing.
Yeah,
But-
I can almost guarantee you they had that crafter device the fabricator that everybody's had. I think they just designed everything around that. They focused all their attention on getting the
Yeah.
mechanic to work properly. I think they're just, you know, it's a matter of just making sure that they put it out there, get it in players' hands, work out the kinks, and then once they've kind of narrowed things down a little bit, I don't think it's a huge stretch to think they would activate all those other crafters on the Clipper and the Carrick and things like that. I think it's shortly behind, you know, this one, the first release, but.
Oh, I have another request or a complaint too, which is to lead on from something you said earlier on Astro, nameable boxes, so I can be like, here's all of my really
Yeah.
good 1,000 quality map. So
Yes,
iron
that's
or
more important now than
steel.
before.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just like, hey, I've just got piles of stuff and I don't know which one they are until I hover over the tooltip. Please give me
Yeah.
boxes I can label.
Yeah.
I mean that's also getting to the fact that like social tools are going to be much more important because they're now actually giving an incentive for players to talk with each other to be like, oh, a miner found 1,000 quality, you know, specific material that's required for this specific like popular blueprint, but they don't have that
Yep.
blueprint and they have no desire to really do it, and they're only going to make, you know, 4,000 credits by selling it to a vendor. They could probably get more if they sold it to a player. So now they have to figure out how to get to a player
Yeah.
to sell them.
Talking
Yeah.
about players and selling to players, we really, 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 really need an in-game player trading marketplace.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
more so now than ever.
yeah.
UEX is great, but we need one in game.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been pitching my idea for years of just taking those stupid convention centers off season and have them be flea markets and just have one
Have
Yeah.
one like
that'd be great.
like player or one set of player trading hubs where you just say, I'm going to put this up for sale, and then it'll put it up for sale and people can bid for it or buy it, and they just have to go physically to those locations to do so because they already have a spot. Like they have like transit to it. It's already open. And they can just rotate it every week, so players have to go to between the different Santon locations to do that.
The sad part is I feel very skeptical that they've started work on that. Like we
Yeah,
know they've
same.
talked about it, but like I think that's far behind. We're probably thinking next year before anything like that would even start to be
Oh yeah,
It might be right.
looked at, which is a bummer.
Which is a bummer because like you know it is like it's one of those cases where this is one of those things which is far more advanced than the other supporting
Yeah.
features which are needed for it. I think that's another disadvantage is that people
But
will attempt to do the Rust thing, which is like
Yeah.
power grind their materials, so they get materials and they start power grinding all of their stuff so that they go from like literal 0 to top tier weapons and armor in like an hour or 2 hours or whatever. They're gonna try to do that sort of thing, and it's like, yeah. That's not really that's the way the game's gonna work in the near future, and so it's setting that bad precedent. I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
So there is an opportunity here. I admit that a player market, a full development on a full player market is probably a little bit more elaborate and, you know, off in the future. But if they wanted to make a good use of their existing teams, we know they're working on the social teams, social tools already. It probably wouldn't be that much of a stretch for them to create a player trade function.
Yeah.
So that instead of having a broad market, like right now, the big risk is even if you go to an online site like UEX, you run the risk of getting screwed. You go there, you find somebody, you make the deal with them, you go there, somebody's got to transfer the goods first. And you either, you know, give them the money or the goods, and then they walk away with the money, or you give them the good, you know, get the money. If they had a legitimate player trade function, that is still kind of within the wheelhouse of a social tools team. It's a one-to-one trade, so you don't have to have an elaborate market where there's bidding and dealing with all the other back-end database stuff of that. If they took the time and sort of carved out some time for a social tools team to make a player trade function, that would tie us over until there was a larger market for next year.
100%. Yeah, agreed. Like that would be the ideal stopgap. You know,
CIG people, if you're watching.
Well, and I do think that's one of the negatives of this whole thing
Yeah.
is that there's just so many other factors that are not like we don't have research in yet. We don't have because like
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know how research and science is going to work is you have to do specific things, and part of that is also just you want to get the tier 2 version of a P4, you're going to have to make 1,000 P4s before you get to that point. Plus, you need to go find this specific item, or you have to go like do the specific experiment somewhere, and all of that stuff, which is designed to allow players to really like hyper focus on one thing, won't be there. So players are going to be more incentivized to make the top grade 1,000 quality P4 like one, and maybe a couple more for their friends, and then they're done.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like,
Well, I mean, to be fair, they are doing it in the right order. You needed the crafting first before some of these other tools could come out. So if they can keep the momentum going on it and follow it up with some other functionality that will kind of take this and let players run with it, that I think would go a long way.
and I think my biggest concern is more CIG doing CIG things and not going, okay, 4.8, we're going to expand this to like food and gadgets. And for 9,
so.
we're going to add like, trade functionality and player trading, like, and more stuff like, bigger fabricators. So now it's like, they're making ship parts, and then, that sort of thing. But my fear is they're going to say, it's done.
Yeah.
We'll fix it later, because they do
would
that.
definitely be, they have in the past for sure. And hopefully that is not their intent. Like they must realize that this is going to be a significant piece of the game, and developing this and then leaving it, moving on to something else would absolutely be losing out on the momentum for players for this.
Yeah, agree.
You keep the team engaged. Keep the team engaged with the technology. They're familiar with it. Don't make them, context switch onto another project and then, forget everything that they've been working on for the last several months. I think I would like to think that they're going to do this the right way and keep going incrementally along the way.
I really hope they do. I really do.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more to add and to evolve in this. And as you gentlemen have been saying, it takes a while to get back in the flow. Even if you are the person who designed the tool, you go do something else, you work on rearm repair or whatever, and you come back, 6 months later, you're like, well, shit, I'm starting from basically zero again. What did I do last time?
Yeah. It's a lot of lost productivity.
I do hope though that I have hopium, because there is the Ironclad Assault coming out in 4.8. And it also has a fabricator. So I imagine it's like, it's got a larger fabricator than the one that's in the Clipper. It's designed to craft ship parts. So it would be the perfect like catalyst to be like, let's craft shield generators and power plants.
For sure.
Like that.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. And we there might be a bit more hopium in a bit of a weird way. I'm just sort of thinking, because I don't know if you boys watched the recent sort of Star Citizen episode they pushed out this week, but talking about having their carrier op mission, the big new raid in spring. I thought that wasn't going to be until like winter. So they've got a lot of extra time. Clearly, if they feel confident enough to say that on one of their YouTube vids, then they have a relative confidence level that they'll be around that time. And there's still 2 quarters of the year to fill in with this stuff. So I'm hoping that will be again with more of the crafting stuff and upgrading systems. And they've got lots of stuff going on. But as you gentlemen also know, it's not always linear. The way that certain things are ready, because there's so many different strike teams on different aspects of the game. One team might be waiting on one aspect, which is down the pipeline, and it won't. So it's just like, I hope it's got some sort of linear progression. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this question. I'll start with you on this one, Logan. Do you like how the blueprints are currently handled?
Good question. I want a blueprint catalog. I'll be honest. I want to be able to see every blueprint I've got, and I want it in a nice big catalog. It'd be digital or something, and I'd be able to just flick through and see what I have and don't have, and maybe grade out boxes for what I'm still trying to look for. Right now, it's kind of like you got blueprint. Great. Where is it? Well, you have to go to the crafter, and you'll see it there. You have a booby glass app now. That would be nice. I also considered and quibbled the idea of it. Well, what if the blueprint was like a physical, like
Yes.
a data
That's what
drive,
I
you
was
know,
gonna say.
here's a blueprint, you know, and it can be taken or something, etc. I don't want that because I don't want people to steal my stuff. But from a
Well,
gameplay
so
standpoint, it'd be kind of cool.
here's the thing. I expect that's the route they're going. I think this is still definitely a tier 0 where you're just getting the blueprint automatically rewarded, at the end of a mission. That's easy for them to do technically. There's not a lot of new UI. You don't have to introduce new concepts. You're literally just awarding something at the end of the mission. I think what they have suggested that they were going to do, and I think it would still be a great idea, is instead of just, magically getting the blueprint at the end of a mission, you open up a loot crate and there's a tablet in there that has
yeah.
the blueprint, right? And
Yeah.
if you read the tablet, then it goes into your long-term blueprint store, magically, whatever. But if you say already have that one and you want to give it to a friend, you can then take it and it becomes a tradable item. You basically just hand it over to them. They get the tablet and then they can read it and have it committed to their
Oh no,
blueprint thing.
I'm thinking of data running stuff now. I'm going to take it one step further. So you go, you find your loot, you get your blueprint, it's uploaded to your suit computer or something in your immediate vicinity, but until you go back to like a landing zone and download it to an archive, if you die before then, you might lose it and you have to go back and get it again. Run data, etc. It could get big.
Yeah. I think the tablet idea is good because it gives you that tangible sense, like, look at this thing I've just won. It makes you feel better.
I
You got something in your hands about it.
I think Sidgew's planned some of that stuff, but I also know that it's kind of weird because I've already heard people say, like, why isn't it physical? Why is it just attributed to my account? Why can't I get what
I think that's
physical
just
was?
because it's tier 0. It's just because it's just easy for them to implement.
So what you're saying is that it's fine now, but you'd like to be able to see what you actually see, what you actually you've unlocked, because you have to go to a crafter right now for those who don't know, and then open the crafter, and then it'll show you what it's unlocked, and it's a little clunky with that.
Either like a Mobiglass app that lets you list it, or like if you want to make them have to have like a tablet that shows your maybe make it so you have to physically carry around the tablet if you want to look at which blueprints you have.
Yeah, something along those lines. I love the physical tactility, though. I think is the underlying idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you feel? I mean, we kind of already talked about that, right? Your general feeling that Radar Ranger about blueprints as they work right now.
Yeah, I love it. I've been wanting crafting for a long time, just because I came from that Star Wars Galaxy era, and I know what how it expands the gameplay and expands the game universe, and I've been waiting for a long time. It really does. You hit the nail on the head. It is hard to overstate how significant of a change it is to the game because, whereas before we were kind of moving around without purpose and gaining minerals just to sell them, and it was all just about a money thing. Now, being able to craft stuff, we're only seeing the first tier of it where we can start to craft like weapons and things like that. But as you get further along the lines, you can make it so that you have to craft stuff in order to gain access to certain missions, like crafting a key or something, or
that's a good point.
Crafting ship components. It really expands the type of gameplay that you can have, sort of exponentially a little bit. And I think the current version that they've just come out with, it was a great tier 0. It's an excellent implementation for the first round, and it does have it's ripe for the taking to grow it out and just keep adding to it over time. So I'm glad they finally get it in. I can't wait till it hits live because we play stuff in the PTU now, and it's like kind of like, I can say this online. We kind of get blue balled a little bit because you can't keep anything.
Yes,
that's true.
You lose it in the PTU.
There are some problems. There's a bug currently where like you get your stuff wiped once you've made it. So per patch, but it's a known bug that they're chasing down because especially since CIG is planning on doing 2 .x patches this round.
Yeah.
They are. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they're taking the time to get it right before they release it to live because it is a significant change, and if they want to land a good impression with players, they got to make sure it works reliably.
Yeah, because they are doing a 4.8, and I think it's going to be at the end of May. So for Invictus or post Invictus, so there's going to be, I think the 4. Well, no, because that's probably because April would be 2 patches in April, which is interesting. 2.x patches in April.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they'll add some more stuff to the crafting because like one of the things that's a little weird is that it's focusing on FPS, and it's weird that they don't have just tractor beam, build a tractor beam, like a multi-tool, being able to craft a multi-tool, or
I have
Oh,
no
that's a
doubt
good point,
you're right
yeah.
behind it. You can make those right now and in like a vulture, right? Or
Yeah.
just
Yes,
you can already
can.
make
Yeah,
you can
okay,
you can already
yeah.
produce them in a vulture, but it's weird that you can't produce like a backpack tractor beam, the shore grip,
Yeah.
I think.
I
is
think
whatever it is.
I think it might
Yeah.
be due to the fact that of all of the gameplay cycles that CIG has, the FPS combat is the most highly polished, highly finished, highly tuned aspect, which can survive having new stuff put into it, which upsets balance slightly because they've already got it so well balanced at the moment. I think that's the
Yeah.
reason why they may have focused solely on that aspect for now, and then
Yep.
hopefully they'll quickly dive into other areas.
Yeah.
The max lift, yes. I joke about the food and drink, but it's like they have food and drink, but what are you gonna make double dogs out of? You know, there's no meat in game. You can't really like craft something out of meat because there is no meat you can currently get.
I don't know.
Uh,
I found plenty of aliens. I'm sure I can turn into some sort of meat substitute.
Gross.
until CIG lets me skin and butcher a copian, then you know. I don't think I'm going to be making double dogs out of what is it? Not copian.
In before
cow
Paul
eggs?
wants
The
like a
cow, the
freaking-
cow
the
eggs,
cows.
the cow tongue. You know.
I was gonna
Oh
say
my
we got
God.
cow eggs. We can make some scrambled cow eggs.
Yeah.
Paul, I can see you now wanting a Red Dead Redemption 2 style like taxiderming and freaking like cutting up systems. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut here and go.
Not me.
damn it.
I just want to do a fancy animation and just be like a and then it just magically happens. Chris Roberts is the one who's like, I want you have to hang this thing and you're gonna
Well, I have to think of nice geometry.
Yeah.
No,
we-
it'll be,
can
it'll,
we-
be done with, it'll be done with beams, mate. Everything's done with beams.
Beams. Yes.
Oh no, I get.
But it's those little things. But in general, I think that the current blueprint system is fine. I do know that a lot of people are upset that it's not physicalized, but I'm like, that is a lot more of a nightmare because like I remember when they first tried to introduce storytelling with the attack on Stanton by the people who were eventually revealed to be the Frontier Fighters. I can't remember the name of the original ones. And like the whole twist was supposed to be we could find it if we found data pads on them, and like half of the data pads didn't spawn. So it's like I can imagine if
You missed the story completely.
you need to go to get your blueprints. You need to go kill this guy and get the blueprint off his corpse. And it's like, oh yeah, that's gonna work great because half the time it wouldn't spawn. You know,
You were so angry.
That was
You
the
were so
problem.
mad about that story beat too.
me? Yes, I was
Yeah, you were
pissed.
pissed.
I was super pissed. So
I mean,
like,
I wasn't exactly happy. I was like, oh, I may have slightly backed the really not very nice terroristy people, but they had a really nice skin. Okay,
Yeah.
I still like the camo. It's still cool.
so like I will say that for anybody who's like, well, why isn't it physicalized? Just remember that. Remember how the whole story is supposed to be told through data pads that never showed up. And then imagine having to get your blueprints off the dead body of an FPS target. And just
Well, that was years ago,
guessing.
though, right? Early on. So
was a couple of
hopefully
years
they've
ago, yeah.
made some significant technological improvements since then.
yeah,
and
but
that's less likely to happen.
but it's brand new tech, and you never know what those sorts of things are. It's just it's easier just to be like, yeah, it's attached to your account. Here you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for absolutely for now, that is
for
definitely the
now.
easiest way to develop it. Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're going to wrap up the discussion here. Is there anything else we want to discuss about crafting and, I guess the future of crafting? We kind of went on that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the big thing is the next iteration is being able to sell it. Being able to sell it and having a good player market. Again, I'm going to drop this hint in case anybody new from CIG has come in. Get the social tools team to do a player trade function that would tie us over until we get a good player market.
An escrow function
that would
at the very
encourage,
least.
right?
Just like
Right.
both sides have to hit commit in order for it to swap.
Right.
And then it swaps.
You get happy traders all over.
I'm going to also say, and to add to that, 100% agree. I know that we are supposed to, in the near future, be able to craft bigger things, vehicles and such. Please, I want to see the system implemented, functioning really solidly and well, and ideally base building in as well before that comes into fruition. because that will be the next
Yeah.
generation of crafting. That's like, that's further down the line. And I just don't want there to be this jump the gun and get it in too quickly. I don't think we're at a risk. This is CIG. They don't really jump the gun a lot of the time. They take their time, but still,
I suspect base building is a different track than the crafting that we're on. Like, I think they are divergent, and they can continue to work on the crafting aspect, and that has nothing to do with and would not interfere with base building. That's presumption, or a little presumptuous for me, but I think that's.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they might be able to just introduce a new facility, which is like, hey, it's a ship crafting facility at a landing zone, and then later down the line, when base is there, you can build that same crafter in your base. And then I can see you can divorce the two, so that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I do think that beyond what we talked about, another big thing is to think about in the future that CIG should probably worry about is also how you can do this loop that still interacts with the non-player economy. Because people who want to be crafters, that guy who's producing, company level arms logistics for, her L4 is like that guy should still, that's a gameplay loop. He should still be able to get his 5 3D printers and set up his own little home business making weapons that he sells to people. It just should be specific people, the headhunters, the CFP, some groups that will go buy them, you go sell them to, as to add that to the loop rather than just I am min-maxing my production.
Yes.
So
crafting missions. I think that's the way Luke could put it, but that's essentially it. You just need crafting missions.
You need crafting missions, or at least crafting speculation, but I think the earliest one, crafting missions. I'd like to see crafting missions this year rather than in the near future, as just sort of a small little utilization of that. Because it's pretty easy to purchase a crafter. I don't know how expensive they are right now. They're maybe because it's testing, it's not that expensive, but you can get them pretty much at every landing zone. The fabricator. So all right. Again, make sure to check out Radar Ranger. Check out My Radar if you haven't already. So I use the app. It's really good. It's good. It's pretty much worldwide now. I know it's mostly the US, but you also have some European and Asian markets as well that covers.
The rain alerts and stuff are really good. We have the rain alerts in the US, France, Europe, France, Germany, UK, Australia. The rain alerts and stuff are really what are like.
They're really great. They'll let you know within minutes of like when a rain is about to hit your area specifically. So it's really
very
good.
accurate.
And then, of course, check out Logan Plays Monday through Friday. Twitch.tv/Logan Plays, and Logan Plays all over the internet, right? You still doing multi-streaming?
Pretty much. I haven't, because I'm lazy, and TikTok is surprisingly difficult to deal with. They're really, really particular on things you say.
Oh yeah.
And I do drop the occasional F-bomb here and there, as you may have noticed. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you have those delicate ears.
There's some more F-bombs going to be dropped because people are asking Storm questions.
I am seeing a storm of questions in the house right now, and I have feelings.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. If you're watching this live, chill out. Will be about 5 minutes. We're going to go use the restroom. We'll be back to answer your questions live. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, the next video should be out. Next version should be out on Friday. I'm going to try to keep that more consistent. It's been the latter ones have been a little bit harder, and YouTube did something weird in the last one. It fought me to try to actually upload the video, and I managed to get it out today. But I had to do some back end tricks to get to work. And then if you are listening to this podcast on Spotify, make sure you subscribe. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the different podcasts. This goes up literally as soon as I'm done. I'm going to put both these parts together, cut out the middle section, and it'll be up for you like right after I'm done. I'm just gonna, instead of just scheduling, I'm just gonna start dropping it when I'm finished, so you have access to it right away and don't have to mess with it. But for everyone else, take a few minutes. We'll be right back to answer your questions. And if you are watching this after the fact, make sure you like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when it's released. We do this Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Would love to have you come join us live at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/@the Podcast, where you can ask your own questions and join in the chat. Let me know everything you want to, everything we've talked about in the comments below. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.